Welcome to the Bot War Show, starring Anthony, Mark, Bjorn, and Stuart. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
I'm good.
Good. How are you?
It's great to have another show. We're up to episode 3, I believe.
Wow.
And the time's cracking on. We've got lots in store for you tonight with today's show. We're going to be talking very much about Beastlords as our faction of specific investigation today. But to get us cracking, we're going to turn across to Anthony and get his rundown of all new news associated with Traders Galaxy and Bot War. Over to you, Anthony.
Oh wow. I'm totally not prepared, Mark. I was just saying to you before, like a lot has been happening. I won't bring up stuff in the very, very far future, but we've just did we talk about the Red Star Nations pre-order last time? I don't think we did we?
No, we didn't. No, we
I
didn't.
don't think
so. No.
So that was like a massive success. We sold out of the 35 initial copies in just, I think, 50 hours. Which is not bad. That's, what, 0.75 an hour or something.
It's very
which is
it's awesome. I'm going to put it up for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's not it.
I know. I'm going to turn across. You keep talking, Anthony, and I'll
But yeah, so that's been really fantastic. I just made a post on the Facebook group tonight to say as soon as it sold out, it was all ordered. All the minis were. Yes. They're actually coming in tan colored resin. So it's sort of like a sandy colored resin.
Yes.
And so they were all ordered. That was all fine. I had already ordered the dice. So they're going to be tan dice with red stars. And then obviously the red cubes are just pretty simple. I just today finalised, my designer made all the cards print ready for the commercial printer. So they just went off today. So everything's on target. Everything. I won't know exactly when they arrive until probably another 3 or 4 weeks. Because with the new stuff, the masters all have to be created. And that's sort of what takes a lot of the time. So it's pretty easy to predict reorders. It's just pretty hard to predict brand new stuff, especially when there's quite a lot of it. Like this is like, I think I was saying to you, Mark, this is a box set, a Titan, 2 singles, and a booster, I think. So it's like it's the big one for this year. So, but everything is on schedule and I don't foresee any major issues. Deposits being paid and everything like that. So everything seems good. Other news is that the final batch of Turbo editions have been ordered. So I'm actually down to 1 Turbo edition left. And the next batch is the last batch of Turbos. So it's probably a good idea if people want to get it in this last batch because, the miniatures might not be available after that. So they'll still be playable characters, of course, but the miniatures themselves might not be available for quite a while after. And aside from that, I think they're the 2 major news pieces.
And Anthony, did you say that there's only 15 sets of the Red Stars left? Like, obviously, you've got those.
Yeah, I actually added because normally what I do is I do the 35 initial pre-order sets are supposed to last like a month. Well, they sold out in 50 hours. So then normally towards maybe a month or 2 before, maybe a month before the stuff arrives, I add the final 15 set. So I do that with all the pre-orders, but I've already added the 15 sets. So once the 15 are sold, then that's all the pre-orders gone and it's just the normal sets. I should actually say as well that, which might catch a couple of people out, is that the normal sets won't be available for until the boxes arrive. So that's actually the pre-order people will have Reds donations like at least a month before they actually are available for sale in the normal sets. So because the pre-order set isn't coming with the box itself, because I haven't got the miniatures painted to go on the box, and I'm getting new boxes with sleeves. So yeah, that's probably quite a good incentive for people to get the pre-order, because they do actually get the miniatures quite a lot earlier than other people. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things. I just can't spin all the plates at once in regards to that, and because I was changing up, because there's a lot changed with Red Star with the new types of cards and the new types of stuff. So it was just one of those things. It just flipped over. Sorry, I'm prattling on now, Mark. So feel free to cut me off.
It's all good. It was a very successful campaign, and congratulations to you. And I'm looking forward to
it was great. Yeah, I think they're going to be really awesome. Actually, I'm in the play testing. They were pretty good, but I think it's going to take me some time to get my head around how the red cubes work, because I found myself trying to make decisions about, do I want to use the red cube for a shield, or do I want to use the red cube for a close attack? Because which is more beneficial? Obviously, if you're dead, you can't use a close attack. But so yeah, it was quite an interesting process.
Well, we'll look forward to talking about that faction. Hopefully, not too far away. Thank you, Anthony. Look, we've got a lot going on with the bot war community at the moment. I'm going to put up some things. And the first one I'm going to put up before we start relates back to democracy, what we were talking about last week. We were talking about some wonderful art that had been seen on Convoy. And I thought we should showcase it here today and have a look at it. So here we are. I believe you can all see that now. And it's
that's Ben's. Yeah, Ben's cool stuff.
So, obviously we talked about it with our last show, but we didn't get a chance to show it. So I know that Stuart and Bjorn, both of you think this is really amazing. I've seen this and also thought it was I saw it last year. I just thought I'd open it up for everybody to have a bit of a chat. I mean, this is a diorama.
That was for the diorama competition we did, I think. We did a diorama competition. I think Ben won it with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he won with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you guys see there's someone else that did Convoy with some, I don't know whether he's stuck on like a poster or something on the side, or whether he painted it.
Like it looked like a transfer or
Yeah, that looked pretty cool.
That was lush, yeah.
We'll see.
I can't remember who that was now.
One of our new members, I believe, to the community.
Yeah.
And I think I might actually have
JD. I think it's JD, was it?
I think so. But it was amazing. I thought it was a great picture. And if we haven't got it here tonight, we'll definitely be showcasing it with our next show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was JD. I'm not sure. I apologize if I've got that wrong.
Do you have the picture of all his democracy stuff as well?
I certainly do. I believe that would be it there.
Yep.
And it's amazing. Like, you've got all that fantastic. I mean, you've got Convoy there in the background, but all of Special Branch, or a good proportion of it there. I love the rainbow colors and the very 80s feel.
And is that TG for Traders Galaxy going across Convoy?
I hope so.
It's big in that universe. But look, it's just done.
Might be TG Cola.
Possibly.
But look, amazing work with all of that, and Ben's done some amazing work. Some other stuff that's obviously in the community at the moment. Anthony posted this one, which is amazing work by Draconin. And it's
that was a collab on Instagram I did with Draconin. He's actually got some more coming. He's really good at doing really tiny stuff. like on his Instagram, he's doing like 6mm miniatures as if they're like 20mm miniatures, you know. So I contacted him about doing the Bot War Sky Cycle. See what he made of that. So I've sent him the Bot War Sky Cycle, and I can't remember what else. But also I sent him Hardball as well. So he did Hardball first, which I was sort of surprised at. But it looks great. It looks very veteran beat up.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And gritty. Very, very good. I love the cracking across the windscreen, across the chest.
Yeah.
Done in there as well. Yeah, fantastic. And then we've got some other stuff. David was actually putting in here as a moderator, a road to competitive bot war. He started to paint up his miniatures in preparation for a competition. I thought I'd throw out a big hi to David. And I'm looking forward to that potential competition. He's talking about getting up to Brisbane or Sunshine Coast maybe, or Gold Coast, wherever there's a tournament that we might be putting on. So no doubt we'll be seeing a democracy force from David there in this particular case. So big shout out to David. We've also got James.
Yeah, well done, David.
First and second paint, or first to paint. And he's just getting those miniatures on the table, it looks like, and it's doing a great job. What do you think, guys?
As long as you get paint on them, I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, like making a start is like half the battle, isn't it, really? So, so yeah, kudos.
Yeah. He's getting it on there, and obviously still got to do some basing and stuff, but it's good to see him posting. We've also got Stuart. I can't miss out on Stuart.
Stu.
And we'll get a chance for him to talk us through it, because I've got a few pictures from you, Stuart, that you put up in the last month on the Facebook page. So these ones to start with, fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. It's always nice to paint the bot war stuff that I haven't got myself, because it gives me inspiration to then go out and get the sets for myself. But one of the things I liked about this bit was because I've done almost the entire collection so far for one of my clients. But the one thing I liked about this set of Valiants was I was able to put them into groups. So I had like a red group, a white group, a yellow group, a blue group, and split them up into painting, so you could kind of batch paint them without. There was obviously differences here and there, but you keep the red ones to one side, the yellow ones, and do each of them as kind of a set, if you like. And they're just really nice to paint. Like the lovely, nice, sharp lines, and I do really like the Valiant models. I've got quite a chunk of them.
You should be ashamed of your yellows, Stu. Your yellows are just too good. That's just shameful. I look at those yellows and just like, why can't I get my yellows that
I wish I could do yellow.
And it's just like
the biggest trick that I've found, because I had problems with yellows for years as well. Contrast paint, the two contrast paints, Nasdrag yellow, a Yandon, whatever it is. Just that over the top of either a pure white or a very, very light grey, and produces a wonderful effect. Have you got a group of the yellow ones there, Mark? I've got a picture of the yellow one.
I believe I do. Would that be the picture?
That's the one. So you'll see here, there's obviously there's 5 of them there, but there's subtle variations in the yellow that I've used. So you've got Stelia, which is the same yellow as Speed Racer, but it's over a different prime. So Speed Racer's got light grey, but it's the same yellow that I'm using. And then when you put the same that Nasdrag yellow over the top of a light one, like a pure white or an ivory, you get a completely different sort of base color and effect. And then from that point, it's quite easy. You just use your paints to kind of edge it up, which is one of the things that really helps with painting bot wall, like the nice sharp edges on them, and it turns out looking quite good.
I'm gonna have to try
Usually.
that.
Yeah, it's worth giving it a shot. Just nice, bright, and those two contrast paints. And it turns out nice and crisp. You just got to make sure that you don't let it pool.
Yep.
Just make sure it's a nice, even coat, and it comes out really nicely.
Well, I think that's great advice with Gold Lions coming out soon, because that's a lot of yellow. We might have to get Stuart doing a specific workshop.
and it's not only a lot of yellow, but it's the what is it? The nemesis of yellow, black. Is the other color.
No.
It's like don't make a single mistake, or you're going to regret it.
Well, that's another thing that really sets these apart. Like, you've got the yellow there, and then the grey. As long as you're careful with the grey, and going in, because they're nicely separated, aren't they? So you've got the panels on the legs and
Yes.
arms and chest, and then it's all kind of internal structure. So you can go quite close to the yellow with your brush, but I find it a lot easier with these than, say, I don't know, yeah, Space Marines, where you've got to get in with the piping and the legs, and I do find them a lot easier to work with.
You've done a great job. And we've also got these ones here too, Stuart, which was the other post here.
Oh, yeah.
French and the like. And great jobs there as well. And obviously painting in white, which can also be very difficult. Some great work there as well.
A lot of that's done in the priming. A lot of that's done in the priming. So, unusually for white or some of the off colors, I'll usually start off with a mid gray, like a Mechanica Standard or something like that, and then attack it from above with a lighter gray, and then from almost right above it with a white, so you get a kind of zenithal. And then I apply again contrast paint a lot of the time. It's a very quick, easy way of getting a good effect on white, and then again just edge highlight.
I've been playing with the contrast.
Make it sound really simple, but it does. It takes a bit of practice sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking,
dead easy.
We're getting steady hand. We're getting steady hand and good eyes.
Great work, Stuart. They're great work. Look, we've also got Preston. He's obviously getting some stuff together. He posted this on the 30th of April, just after our last show, and getting his armies on the table. A few Beastlords in there that relate to tonight. You'll notice at the back. And obviously Electra Tyrants stuff.
He's got the pop. He's got the pop happening.
Absolutely. So I thought that was a great picture. A big shout out to him. Keep up the good work.
We actually do have some new releases coming for ETDA soon.
Excellent. When are they due, Anthony?
Probably end of this month, early next month.
I look forward to seeing those. Great army, that one. We also have JD. He did this wonderful Trashosaur he put up online. I'm not sure whether you guys saw this.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
You've said that you have, but I thought it was an amazing.
Oh, have I?
And look, great work. A little bit of red on there really makes it pop. A little bit of blue on there as well. So big shout out to JD and keep up the good work. Stuart, painting a bit of broken skies. I thought these were great as well.
It's obviously it's Broken Skies. I bought this, I think, during the pre-order last year. I played a few games of it, and I'd originally used the plastic rods that came with the set, but I was finding it hard to get a decent storage solution for it. And I thought, well, there's a product from, as I say, TT Combat here in the UK for Drop Zone Commander, where it's a widget and you just pop the model on and off as and when you need it. And I thought that would be perfect, because then I can create something that's easy to store. Either pop them off, put them in individual bits, or and then put them on the hex bases. or I can then make something up so that I can put them on a normal base and use them for bot war as well as broken skies. So
Look,
It's actually
just
it's actually criminal of me to not be pushing Broken Skies more, because it is absolutely awesome game. It's like, I really enjoy Broken Skies. It's just getting the time for me to do it. Like, I love Broken Skies as a game. And the good thing about Broken Skies is you can play it with non-miniature gaming people. Like, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's like a real heavy miniature game. So, because it's like a coffee table game, if anything, and it's actually really great. But I just got to get more, time on the table with it.
it's a great game.
The first time, sorry.
No, sure. Please continue.
Well, the first time I played this, I'd taken it into my local club. So there's one just up the road from me. I'd just taken it in of an evening, in between 7:30 and 10 o'clock when the club closes. I think we'd had about 4 or 5 games. Gone through various scenarios, changed the forces up a bit. It's a really nice, quick, simple game, but we had a ton of fun playing it. It's well worth it. Well worth the cost of the set.
Yeah, I think it's only like $65 now. US.
It's absolutely worth it. It's a great game, and you can always use the models, obviously, in bot war if you want to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fantastic work here, Stuart. Great game. Can't recommend it enough. I've got a copy myself. I painted it up for this year's painting competition. Really great game to play. And I really like those widgets. Can I say? Those widgets look great, Stuart.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to look into that myself. We've also got Bjorn. I'm going to throw over to Bjorn. Wonderful picture here on the 23rd of April. Getting some games in. I like to see games online. And obviously you were playing. You played
Broke the drought.
Valiant, I believe, versus Scott, who got the Electro Tyrant drone army out. Tell us how it went.
Well, didn't go well for me. It was the first time Scott had played. First time Scott had played the drone army. First time I'd played against them. Yeah, it really didn't go that well for me at all. I tried to set up Black Ops to try to get some artillery shots off, and Electro Tyrant, like, first thing he did was just like a move forward, long range shot at Black Ops and just obliterated him. So it was all sort of downhill from there.
They're a tough army to play, Bjorn. They're a tough army to play.
Yeah, not knowing, sort of not having had any experience against them yet, you can only sort of imagine kind of, what they're going to be like and stuff. And they were a fair bit sort of stronger than I expected. They obviously don't have a lot of different tricks or anything, but Surge is a very powerful trick. So yeah.
They're very glass cannon as well. Like they couple of good hits, they do start melting away quite quickly. It's just getting the couple of good hits to start.
Yeah. But even their sort of cheaper units in the drone platoons and stuff, because being a platoon, they can boost multiple times. It really makes them extremely dangerous as well. Like, there's no piece coming forward at you that isn't extremely dangerous. Like, if they're rolling dice at you, they're rolling a fair amount of dice at you, and they only need to get one through, and they'll do more damage, kind of thing. So
yeah,
it was still fun game, but yeah, didn't go well for me at all.
I'm going to say Scott looks very happy.
Scott was very happy.
And obviously,
did Scott used to play Atlantica?
Yeah, he's got Atlantica, he's got Infestors, he's got Drone Army, he's got White
Because I think
Knights.
you guys were used to say that his Atlanticans got beaten a lot.
They didn't.
I can't remember.
On and off. His Infestors, but
I was
it's the
just
same
gonna
with
say,
like
got revenge.
Jason's Infestors. Infestors normally, he always struggled with Infestors, same as Jason would. Atlanticans, I think generally it was probably like, half. Like they did okay.
Okay.
Well, I look forward to the next battle report, Bjorn. What are you going to be
Well-
playing next week?
Unsure. I think I'll suss out what I might be facing against first, and then try to put something together.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. We've got some other community spotlights here. Obviously, Judd's got out and played a few games. This came through on the 23rd of April. He was showing a little bit of some of your scenery, Anthony. Some of the buildings.
Oh, I think he's was playing Red Cannoneers in this one, I think.
Yep, I think so. And Mercs. I think he was playing against Mercs. Is that
I
correct?
think the Mercs smashed him.
Really?
Really?
I thought so. I think he was saying that the Mercs won in that game, but I
Yes,
could be wrong. Like it.
No, he says solid win for the Mercs, which is
Yeah.
very surprising.
Yeah, well, if the Mercs are all on artillery, it's not surprising, really. Like they're just blowing them away from a distance, perhaps. It looks like a pretty open board.
Yeah, they're in trouble there.
Mm.
But you can see how they sort of started out here, and then going back to that other page, you can see a lot of models being knocked out there. So
Red Cannoneers, I agree with Bjorn. I was surprised when I read it.
yeah, I thought they'd win for sure. But Mercs got up there. Good on Mercs. Nice to see him getting a win. Some other things to make mention. Tim posted this on the 21st. I believe he's managed to get this tabletop turn program up online that allows you to sort of set up for tournaments and put your battle lists together and the like. Has anybody had a chance to get on? Went on. And...
I haven't
No,
looked at
I
it.
haven't.
I've had a quick look.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
You can sort of put your lists up on it and it'll put them all together for you. So I thought that was interesting and could be very useful in tournaments. So obviously it was on the Facebook page. So I thought I'd just give it
Yeah, great.
back to the 21st of April. There's a link there. You can have a look at it. Could make for much easier putting your list together for tournaments.
It's good to highlight that stuff because it's like I see so many, I miss stuff and I think, oh, I need to go back and look at that.
I recommend to anybody who's playing Bot War, that's something to have a little bit of a look at because I think this sort of stuff's great for putting lists together. You can sort of print something down, which is like an abbreviated summary. So thanks for Tim for getting that up there and a big shout out to him. Just moving across, obviously, to Cinderfall Gaming. Luke, isn't it? Has done some wonderful work.
Yeah, Luke.
He's mad. I've got to give it to him. He's got a lot of things that he's promoted here with Traders Galaxy. He's done Atlanticans. He's done, obviously, what we're talking about tonight, Beastlords. That was obviously on the 19th. He must have known we were going to do that for the show. What else have we got here? He's also done Infestors. He's done...
These are really great overviews for like beginners and stuff, people first looking at the game.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's really sort of just like high level, just look over the whole faction, just give a very brief sort of like rundown of stuff. I really enjoyed looking at him. He does it so well as well. Just really quick, really fast. This is what it is, you know?
Yeah, big shout out. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for the community there. And it's really great to see that out there. And if you are looking to get started, have a look at some of these. You'll get a bit of an idea what you're getting in a box. We've got Richard. I wanted to mention this. I know, Anthony, you're not so keen on solo rules, but
Yeah.
2nd of April put this up. He's put up a community rules solo AI. He was sharing it from Discord. From Ninetail Hoppies. He's sort of modified it. He's given a Google Doc there that if you download it, it'll give you a set of rules if you want to solo play. So in other words, if you're having trouble finding somebody to play, you can get your models out, run through the rules here, and get a few games in and keep your skills up in preparation for that tournament that's coming up. So I really think this is good for getting you out there and
this is a really good thing because like something that I've noticed in the bot war community is that there are a lot of guys that they kind of just collect because they tend to not have anyone to play with. So being able to sit there and actually get to use your miniatures that you've spent time painting and everything, I think it's a really good thing for them.
Funnily enough, this is another one that I skimmed over and I didn't really look at it, and then I forgot about at the time, unfortunately. As you can imagine, I just see like so many. I really need to ask Richard if I can just put that up on the website so everyone can just download it and use it as a community resource so it's easily to find rather than have to scan through all the pages of the Facebook, because that sort of stuff is like really, like as Bjorn said, it is actually gold. Like personally, I'm not really a solo gamer, but I understand that loads of people are. And so, like, to have that as a resource for people who can just have an easy place to find it is something I need to get that sorted.
I think that'd be great, Anthony. And look, I just have to say, I think it's going to be really good for people to just have that and be able to play with it. And I'd really, if you are doing it, take a few shots and getting up on the Facebook page, show those games going and, you know, what you found out and along those lines, because it's just going to help to grow the game. But anyway, obviously we want more people-to-people combat as well, but I think this will just really get people into playing and getting them familiar with the rules.
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, sorry to just quickly, funnily enough, Ian from Flicks Tabletop Gaming on YouTube, all his battle reports are just basically himself versus himself, I think. And if he had these rules, it would actually make it very different how he plays plays through the battle report. So it's something interesting to consider.
Absolutely, and it'd be interesting to see how those battle reports, who wins those, as you say, Anthony, who wins those battle reports based on the rules.
Yeah.
Look, I want to big shout out to Cornelius. He's been getting ready for the Dino Borgs, and obviously we mentioned it earlier in the today's show, but he's managed to find a few Red Star buildings, I believe. I always love Cornelius' work on the Facebook pages because he's always looking at stuff, how you can make it better and change it and modify it. So a big shout out to him for getting those up and just looking at different buildings that we can get into Bot War that give you more that Red Star Nation, you know, battle damaged buildings and the like, where you could sort of do some combat apart from a, say, Democracy City or something like that. So a big shout out to him for that.
What I love about Cornelius's posts is that they're very like, he just does his hobby, which is fantastic. He basically, it's so interesting to see. It's something like different in a good way, you know, which is always really great to see on the group.
He had a few posts. I finally put one in for Cornelius this time. I attempted to put more in because he's got some good stuff. But you know, as you say, he's always putting in something different. I think there was a submarine not long ago that he'd done up. I thought was fantastic as well. I haven't got it here. And just showing different other vehicles and the like. Yeah, great work. Sean's been doing some stuff. He did a video on the 23rd of April. A lot of these are on the 23rd of April, it would seem. But he was building better bots for the Traders Galaxy Bot War. And it was a little video that you could go in and have a look.
This is Obscurities in Miniature. Is this right? I think is this right? Have I got that right?
Maybe.
Or have I got that wrong?
He's just got, like, obviously it's building better bots. He's put it together and he got an opportunity to build a variety of Bot War models, put them up online. So I just thought that was great.
I think he's got a YouTube channel, Obscurities in Miniature, I think. I could have that wrong because, yeah, I sent out a few little sample packs to people.
Well, as I say, have a little bit of a look at it. It's there. It was on the 23rd of April, and that video is up there. We've already talked about Red Star, so not too much to talk about at this stage regarding Red Star. And that brings us to the end of all the Facebook posts for this week. So I'm going to throw...
Well, not all, but all the ones we've highlighted.
Well, there were, basically, I tried to pull down all the Facebook posts relating to games, anybody who's posted on painting, although I did miss the one with Convoy. Obviously, when I did the download, which was on Friday, I've missed that one with the actual toy truck, which is really frustrating because it was really good. I haven't commented it on Facebook on it. So we'll get that one in for next time because that is definitely worth mentioning because it was great graphics side of it. But yeah, keep those posts coming in. We'd love to highlight your work on the show. Please put up as many battle reports as well. I like to highlight battle reports. It's a little thing of mine.
I love battle reports. To me, like, I get inspiration as well from the community in the same way as everyone else. So it can be really inspiring to see the battle reports and people playing the games.
Absolutely. So please get them up if you can, guys. We'd love to showcase them on the show. But I believe we're now moving into our next segment, which is painting with Stuart. And I'm going to, Stuart no doubt has apart from yellows and whites, take us through the marvel of painting like an expert.
There are no other colours, only yellow and white.
So Stuart, what have you got for us today?
Well, we've kind of already more or less covered what I was going to talk about, which was choosing the right primer for the job. So what I wanted to kind of, I suppose, discuss and go over a little bit with you guys as well is how you approach like priming and, you know, what do you choose priming models? Do you go with a color? Do you go with, you know, a zenith or something like that? And, you know, why would you choose one over the other? So going back to the picture that we had before of the yellow, the yellow guys, wherever they are. There we go. Obviously, I chose quite two different types of primer for this. So one light grey, one white, in order to get a different effect. And I think a lot of it comes down to your, you know, trial and error with a lot of these things. But there's also a couple of, I suppose, rules to do with it. If you're wanting something to be nice and bright, you've got to use a nice white light primer. You want it to be slightly, I suppose, grim dark and a bit more realistic looking, then something like a grey primer would work well. But in order to get a nice bright yellow, you need to go with a light primer. Because I use a lot of contrast paint these days, either through the airbrush or just with a brush, I tend to actually prime myself with whites and ivories. I kind of moved myself away from the sort of colored primer, like, you know, your blue, cans of blue and cans of red and what have you. But what about you guys? How do you prime?
I normally
tend to go for one particular, or
I normally prime with white, unless I'm specifically trying to do like an effect where you do it like a zenith or kind of priming and then put a contrast paint over it to get the gradient kind of going through.
Yeah.
I tend to just prime in white because I find that, like, even if I want to do dark colors tend to go on white fine, while light colors will not go over the black as well. So I tend to just get a bunch of stuff ready and just do white on everything and then just be done.
Yeah.
I do a black, believe it or not. Then I do an airbrush of silver over the top of that, shooting down over the top of the model, getting it on. And then I go over the silver with the color and it goes along those lines. But I've always had trouble with yellow. I've tried spraying with the white, but I got to get a bit of white, obviously.
So you just say that you do black and then you do a zenithal of silver? Is that because you do a lot of metallic?
Yeah, like a metallic silver, so you get in the edges, you still get the black, and then black, then you silver, so you've still got those little edges of black, and then you go over the silver with your color, and it sort of gives it that mechanical popping sort of look. That's how I do it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Like people come to. It depends on how it is that you get your end result, or the end result that you're looking for. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the techniques that you use as well for for painting. So because I use quite a bit of contrast paint to get things done quite quickly, I prime quite light, like Bjorn. But if I'm doing something a bit more, I don't know, traditional, where you do your base color, your wash, your highlights, and you're gradually building it up, I'll probably use a gray, because you need something that's a nice, easy base, solid and neutral. And a good example of that would be most of the Rise of the Democracy models that I've done. Traders Galaxy, especially the Democracy stuff, most of that has been sprayed in Mechanicus Grey, whereas the Red Cannoneers were done using white. Again, because the red went over far nicer on top of a light colour.
Gives the red more a pop too for the Red Cannoneers as well.
Sorry?
Gives the red a more
white
on the red. Yeah, in this particular
red
make the red much darker.
Yeah. Well, again, that's it's a dark red and then a wash over the top just to bring the tone down a little bit. And then you take it back out with your highlights.
That's great advice, Stuart. Any other wisdom sage-like tips you'd like to share with us today?
No, I don't think so. Like I said,
save it for the next show.
It's funny that what I was covering, you kind of covered when we looked at my models. Fair enough.
Very much, Stuart. It's always good to have your input. And, I'll look forward to the next advice that you have for us all to make us better painters. We're going to go for a break here, and we're going to come back shortly, and we're going to get started into our faction review, which is we're going to be looking at the Beastlords specifically. So just join us after the break. All right, so we're back here, and we're going to be talking about Beastlords now. So I put them up on the screen. I know Stuart, Bjorn, and Anthony have been sending me a few photos to put up to highlight this particular faction that we'll be discussing tonight. We've got a few bot war lists that we want to share with you all and to get a little bit of discussion going. But this first picture, and I know, Stuart, I believe you sent this one to me.
Yeah.
What a great picture of some Beastlords.
Oh, they're lovely. I can't remember who it was who did them, but I think these are...
I know who it was, but I can't remember. I can't remember who that was.
They are awesome.
I've seen them before. I can't remember who it was, though. Sorry, someone, whoever you are.
Non-traditional colours, really striking.
It's nice. It's nice that he's got like a very well-defined like palette for it. There's 3-4 colors on there, but he's mixed them up quite effectively to give them a uniform look, but still maintain that individuality amongst the models. It just looks nice. It's a very nicely painted set.
I love that the weapons are red.
Yeah.
Maybe someone, whoever they are, can put in the comments below in the video to say, hey, these are mine.
Look, they're great. And a great showcase and an option to put those up. Obviously, Anthony, you put this up in 2020 in August, the Beastlords that were all painted up at that particular stage in the more traditional colors associated with the cards. So we've obviously...
Yeah, they were painted by Stuart Thomas. Not our Stu here. Stuart Thomas, he was doing a lot of painting for me at the time. So he used contrast paints on them as well, over a white undercoat, I think.
Yeah, well, they're on all the boxes and everything. They're great models as well, and I know they just look absolutely striking. I did want to raise this before we get into faction lists. Thomas, 6 days ago, or when I took this off, was asking for a rule classification. And we're going to talk about this a little bit tonight. And I know that a whole heap of people put it up, but I wanted to hear it directly from Anthony so he can tell the Bot War community about But
I can't remember what it was.
so it was basically on page 19 of the Beastlord faction guide. It is written, when using pure Beastlord faction with no allied swords, would the inclusion of Spinerok disqualify a faction from counting as pure Beastlord faction? Now, my understanding is
No.
You can use Spinerok.
What the reason is because the sellsword on Spinerok for that guide is a typo.
Okay.
Because originally when I was because I think the Beastlords, when I was writing that, it was about the time the Turbo Plus cards I started fiddling with the new design on the cards. So I'd actually done out all the Beastlords cards in the Turbo Plus design, and she didn't have it. And then I got cold feet and think, oh, I don't know. So then I put all the other cards in. I forgot to take it off. So it's a typo, unfortunately.
Would you be able to say, like, it might be wrong, but so if someone has sellsword as an ability, would you say
it's meant to be?
Would it be that it's only if they're used outside of the faction that they're part
yeah,
of?
It's
So
yeah,
she
that's
could
right.
still
It's meant
have
to,
it,
it's
but
meant
as long
to
as she's
say
used.
that you. Yeah, it's meant to mean that you don't have like someone like Alita, for instance, out from outside of the faction.
But then, for instance, if you used Alita in Valiance, then that sellsword doesn't kick off, kind of thing. So it doesn't ruin using her in Valiance.
Well, that's probably a bad example. Because the Valiants now have battle groups. So
I was going to say within the battle group that she's associated with, then.
Yes, yeah. If she's in a battle group, which she's not assigned to just yet because I haven't finished the battle groups, but if she's in a battle group, the one that she's in won't be affected by her ability. Yeah.
Okay.
We've heard it all here, and that answers, I believe, the question. So obviously, you can use her, and I think we'll see her appear in quite a few lists tonight when we actually get onto that in a moment.
I think narratively, just quickly on Spinerok, like all of the Beast nobles, except for Darkstone, who sort of had a fight with Brontus, still are a bit sort of like aloof at answering the call when they are, but some of them still answer, which is why I decided to put her in there. So it's sort of touch and go. Like it's not really sort of like total enemies sort of thing.
Yeah. She could still help out.
Yeah, she still could help out. She's just a bit of a bitch, you know.
Yeah, more that the threat has to also threaten her, kind of thing, for her to want to help them.
Yeah, it's just like she. I don't know if you guys remember, like, I don't know, TV shows or whatever. There's always that character, isn't it, that sits on the edge of being a complete mongrel.
Yeah.
But will help out if there's some sort of benefit or something, and still sort of talks to the good guys every now and then. It's just a complete like pain in the neck. That's the sort of character Spinerok is.
And the lovely part,
like, she wouldn't have even helped Darkstone out unless there was something in it for her. You know,
why she didn't show up. All right, we've got another picture here of a game, I believe, that was.
Yeah, this was one of mine. They're my Beastlords there, and they were facing off against the Trashers. You can see a very brightly painted Trashosaur off in the distance. From memory, it didn't go well.
When was this?
Either. This was a long time ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I can't remember now. It was quite a while ago, though. That would have been Justin's Trashers.
And that's pre-faction guide.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been.
Awesome. Nice paint job, by the way.
Thank you. They were the first things I had. They're the first miniatures I'd painted in a really long time. And so they were like really basically painted. Just sort of like I primed them, base coats of everything, a wash over it, and I kind of just left it there because I just wasn't feeling confident enough at the time to do much more than that.
Well, I think they look great.
That's good, man.
Here's another one of yours, I think, Bjorn.
Yes, that's another one. Yep.
I'm assuming we all have her in our groups as well, being the cheapest
Yes.
Lord / Beast Noble.
She's a bargain for 11 points.
Absolutely. So, and well painted here. So great,
Yep.
great.
Thank you.
And then that's your whole force, I believe.
Yes, that's all the Beastlords together. So
Did you end up getting Spiner?
I haven't. I've been on the fence about getting her. I will. I just because I haven't used the Beastlords much recently. I've been using Coils and Valiants a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think now that moving on to 100-point games and stuff, I'm going to give him another go, and she will be required for that.
as we're about to talk about. We've also got here, Anthony wanted me to put these in. These are some of the early workings for the Beastlords before we got the Beastlords that we had. And I'll throw over to Anthony and talk us through.
Yeah, so it's like quite interesting. It's hard to remember. Like, it feels to me, these images feel like they're 15 years old. But they're only 3.5 years old. And we started off the original. I can't even remember what the original brief was for Beastlords, but this is what the artist first came back with. Like, normally he will come back with a bunch of sketches to see which one's traveling in the right direction. And I think at the time I said none of these are traveling in the right direction. But you can see here, funnily enough, you are starting to see the genesis of Darkstains there, with the green guy at the top, and Darkstain himself and stuff like that. So it's sort of quite. I find this really enjoyable, this creative side of stuff, and how we go through and find characters. But I just thought it'd be interesting as a Beastlords themed show to show that, and I think there's another one as well.
I believe we've got these as well.
Yeah, so now we're starting to get into how the Beastlords looked. I think this was Tyrannus at the time, but we're starting to get into getting more, and that's Tricerus as well. So getting close to how things are now.
They're great. And it's always good to have a look at it from a historical viewpoint, just to sort of see where, as you say, they've come from.
Funnily enough, I actually quite like at least the Tricerus one. I think he's quite cool. I don't know why I didn't go with that.
Combat still cool.
Yeah, he just looks really awesome.
Yeah.
But
And then I've got this. We're going to get into talking about a few lists. I know, Bjorn, you're going to talk yours through. Yours are here. Anthony, yours is here on the left. I believe
I can't even read that. It's so tiny on my phone.
Okay, well, I'll read it.
I'll remember it. I'll remember it. That's all right. I remember it.
Okay,
Bjorn can go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Unless you've got it marked up, Mark. Who's goes when?
Well, I was gonna talk yours through, Anthony, and I was gonna say you went with Rhinorus for 11 points. So these are all 100-point armor.
Yep.
So Rhinorus for 11 points, Spineret 14 points, Dactylus for 17, Parasola for 17, Arcanor for 19, and then you either had Brontus as option 1 to round out your arm, or Tricerus, which you think Tricerus on retrospect might actually be the better choice because they've got flames.
It might be.
And I'll let you talk.
And it's got ram attack.
Yeah.
I just think for me, I think ram attack's easier to manage than armored might. Although armored might with the Beastlords faction guide, because if you've got the army-wide rule is that if you have Armoured Might on, you get a little bonus to your movement. So probably in hindsight with that rule, Brontus might be the pick with SR2. But the combat shield and flamethrower is hard to pass up, especially if you're playing against forces that are going to be difficult to pin down in close combat, because not allowing for terrain against your shots and stuff like that is pretty great. And the combat shield is actually quite a good defense. Like, I don't know exactly off the top of my head the math on a combat shield or 2 dice and a crit dice versus 4 shield dice. So I'm just not 100% sure exactly what the math is, because it must be pretty close. So, I mean, it's a 7 versus a possible 8, but I think there's a greater chance that you roll better on the shield dice, as in the combat shield. Bjorn probably know.
No, I'm terrible at the math side, so don't ask me anything to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be a difficult pick, whether you pick Bronus or Tricerus. I think probably I'd lean down on the side of Tricerus because of the ram attack and that, but yeah. Anyway, I can flip either side. It's very even to me.
But it's a 6. This is the interesting part, moving from a 70-point army to a 100-point army. That gets 6 Beast Lords on the table here. And
yeah, I think this is one of the only 6. Yeah, I think this is the Tricerus or Bronus or Stegris combo. Really, out of the 6, you're only picking the last one, which of those 3. And so, yeah, I mean, Stegris might be. If I was more of a Green Spectres type player, Stegris would probably be better, because then I could think ahead for the strategy rating. But I'm not that bright, so Stegris might be a good choice for people who are clever in that regard.
Well, actually, that's interestingly, because that's my Beast Lord pick. I've got either Brontus or Stegris, and I put Stegris because he's 20 points, and that leaves you 2 left over. I actually threw on the upgrade card, Fury of the Beast Lords, which allows for advanced deployment for everything. And my thought process was, if you could do that, that'd throw your on the table further up, and you could actually engage with people faster and maybe not get blasted quite so much, moving your way up the table. So that was sort of where I was going with one of my armies in this particular case. But the other thing I wanted to point out is, when you're picking a Beast Lord army, range attacks are going to be 3 or 4, and your close attacks are going to be 3 or 4 for each character. So they excel at everything. And now that you've got 100 points to play with, getting 6 of these characters on the table is a very dangerous army.
Yeah,
I think you've still got. Go on, sorry, that's a bit of a delay.
I was just going to say, I think no matter what, 6 is what you're going to want to go for. Even though I put together a 5-man list, but that was mostly just to be different from what you guys had. I think really the smart move is always going to be more bodies than anything. So I think
essentially
these lists are what most people would have.
You're basically throwing 8 more damage on the table if you go 6 over 5.
And just having the bodies to try to at least try to compete with objectives, you're still going to be outnumbered even with 6, because at 100 points, most other factions are going to have probably 8 or more. So
well, you don't forget you've got the ability that will deny objectives within 6 inches. It won't get you objectives, but it will deny opponents' objectives. So, but agreed, it's much easier to spread 6 across the table and deny those objectives than spreading like 4 or 5. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I think Spinerock is great, but I think it's going to be hard to really get the most of her because of the zero range attack. Like, I don't think anyone wants to take her on in close attack, but I think getting her into. But then again, it's always nice to have someone that's supplying a few energy to the other dudes as well.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of chances to boost with the Beastlords, especially if you're running Armored Might and keeping it up. You just don't get that chance to worry about boosting. So having, Spiner Up is probably. I'm unsure whether I'd bother putting up Armored Might on her. There's the additional super that they can take, which was in one of the GT magazines. I think it's like Armored Ram Attack or something.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's a ram attack with some extras. I cannot remember off the top of my head. I think you might get an extra dice or you get something like that when you perform it. That might be better to have on, like to keep up your sleeve on her rather than trying to pay for Armored Might on her all the time.
I think the key is what you said, Bjorn. If you're playing a game where you've got energy on the table, it makes the Beastlords even more competitive if you can claim those objectives.
Yep.
Inner power, if you could afford to play it, which you can't, which is a 3-point boost. Get that extra cube. That's a godsend for the Beastlords. Anytime they can get more energy allows them to do more stuff.
Yep.
Well, yeah, to be honest, like even if you ran Rhinoceros as a battery early on, like she's a pretty tough battery. Like she's not like some little valiant scout. Like,
no, she can still move up the table while kind of giving some energy. Like, you just leave a little bit off her.
And she can take a few hits.
Well, 3 shield is the basic level of defense with Beastlords. Brontus, I think, as you said, Anthony, 4 shield. They're pretty hard to hit.
Well, they got a ton of damage as well. I think, what was it? Yeah. Now, I don't have it in front of me, actually. Does Rhinos have 7 or 8?
7.
7.
Yep.
Yeah.
7. Well, you get a Valiant General class at 7 damage is like up around 15 points, right? And Rhinos is 11.
Yeah.
Absolute.
So, yeah, she's a bargain.
Bjorn, you've obviously got a list. Tell us what you've got.
I do. So my list works on the fact that, and I'll have to make sure of this, that Fury of the Beastlords will give an additional increased movement on top of the increased movement of having Armored Might from the faction guide.
I knew I would regret not having my laptop in front of me.
So, as you said, if you've got,
I knew I said to you at the start of the show, Mark. Didn't I? I said you at the start.
You did.
So, with the faction guide, you said that if they've got Armored Might up, that they get an increased movement. Correct?
Yes.
Now, Fury of the Beastlord, not Fury of the Beastlord, sorry, Hammer of the One.
Yeah, Hammer of the One. Yeah,
reduces whoever has it on them, reduces the cost of maintaining Armored Might by 1, and everyone that has Armored Might gets an increased 1-inch movement. So does that increase stack? So would they get the increase from Hammer of the One and increase from the faction guide faction rule?
Can I rain check that? I actually need to read it again and just double check what I.
That's fine. It was.
It's like I should have the thing in front of me because as far as I'm aware, the extra movement if you've got Armored Might is automatically gets turned on.
Okay.
But I just need to double check how it's written. The fact that you're asking worries me. So I need to double check it.
That was kind of my thought of putting this team together, was getting people with as much movement as possible. So my assumption was that it would stack. So we're just going with that for now.
What I will say is that the Galactic Transmission rules will not synergize with the faction guide rules.
Sorry, I just have to say goodnight to my daughter who's trying to go to bed.
Ah.
Good night, sweetheart. I'll see you in the morning. Okay, bye. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We had the galactic transmission rules that came out. Have sort of moved into the non-official status now that the faction guide is out. So you won't get like both of those. If that's what is that what you're meaning? Is that
yeah? So
I think whatever was in the galactic transmission got synergized into the Beastlords faction guide anyway. Because I think there's a couple of them that became faction-wide rules from the galactic transmission rules. So they don't it's not it's the same rule repurposed into that rather than an additional upgrade that you can take extra, if that's what you mean by that.
Yes, that is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so then Hammer of the One is
you still get pretty good value from Hammer of the One.
It's
because you get I can't remember now, is it 2 inches or 3 inches extra movement with it? I knew I should have had it in front of me.
I should have had it in front of me.
we're doing the Beastlords thing, and no one is the
Hammer of the One. No, I don't. Hammer of the One is only +1 inch in the old GT because that's what I've got in front of me.
Okay. I think it's +2.
Okay.
And I've got the Beastlords gauge here. All Beastlords receive +1 movement when using the Armored Might super ability.
Okay, it's +1.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
+1. Yeah.
So then
it's the same.
Okay, so they do the same thing. So
and they get righteous indignation, which is they can contest objectives within 6 inches.
Yes.
Yeah, that's different to the upgrade, I think.
And then they get Beastlords Arise. When targeting elemental avatars only, each Beastlord may reroll 1 range attack dice per turn. This may not be a critical. But they're
I
so cool.
dare say that's probably going to never be taken. It's more like a narrative thing if people take it in narrative battles if they're playing against that.
That's fine, because that means I can drop Hammer of the One, which costs 6, and take up 2 other 3.1s, which is fine. So my team is, and I'm pretty sure 100% I pronounce the names all different to you, Anthony. So I have Tyrannus with Unbridled Heroism upgrade, which is the one where the gang ups don't count. They don't get.
That's pretty tough. I thought about putting that on. That's pretty tough. Because that's one of their main weaknesses is getting ganged up on.
Yeah.
And having that is pretty...
Yeah. That's a good one. And especially I think it's only 3 points, so that's quite a good one. I've got Stegoris, I've got Arcanor, I've got Spinarock, and I've got Rhinorus. Spinarock. Sorry, Spinarock.
All the others were right.
I've got Fury of the One on Arcanor, which is all Beastlord models get the advanced deployment. It doesn't really matter who that goes on to because once they deploy, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Then I will have which I can't remember its name. It's the old Beastlords one where it's 3 points. It gives 1 extra cube to someone. So
power.
Yep. So I'll chuck that on Stegoris, and then there's also to finish up to 100 points. I'd take Unfinished Business.
Yep.
Which is where when you're damaged.
Yeah, you get a critical dice of healing back before
to try
you
to heal back
once per go.
It costs an energy, but if you've got an energy on it, but I think it's pretty cool little power.
Well, especially because I have 3 points left in my 100 points, so I might as well just take it because it's the only thing that fits. So I'll take.
Is that on Tyrannus?
Yeah, I was going to chuck it on him while he's.
Yeah, that just makes him a beast.
Yeah. So that's my list. The idea would be that sort of Tyrannus is your main man going down the front. He and Arcanor are probably like your front line, the two of them. They're the two sort of toughest because Arcanor has shield and mace. So he's got a defensive and an offensive ability. Then you have Stegoras and the two Beast Nobles sort of as your backline, but just behind them, like not far off. So you're trying to push past assuming there's objectives sort of around the middle of the board. You're trying to push past the objectives with your two big guys and hold there while your smaller guys kind of take care of the objectives behind you.
Well, Stegoras can also make Tyrannus SR3,
yes,
can't he?
Yes. So the idea would be that Stegoras is back there. He's got the upgrade to get the extra cubes, so you don't want to throw him in front unnecessarily. And also using him it would probably be very rarely that you use strategist, because it costs a cube as well. And you don't have a huge amount of cubes to sort of burn through, but depending on your situation, drop Tyrannus down so you can finish off someone before they activate or something like that. Or if it's looking like he's going to get destroyed before his activation, drop him down so he can act first, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then with your two Beast Nobles, like I said, I'd probably use the armored ram attack instead of the armored might. And Rhinus has ram attack anyway. You kind of need the extra movement is what helps you catch people. If you're just going on your base movement, kind of walking towards people all the time, it's very hard to catch people. So getting those extra movements, getting the extra movement from having armored might on your
well, the extra critical as well is pretty good. The extra critical just helps.
So that's if I had to go with a 5-man team, that's what I would probably go with.
And Stuart, you got any insight?
Yeah, I mean, I've only played Beastlords once. Played against them a couple of times. So a lot of my experience with it was just how tough it was to actually take them down. So the first time I played once against them with the Infestors, once against them with Valiants, and I just had the worst time trying to actually take them out at the end. So although there was only a few of them, I was able to swarm. I did find quite just quite hard doing that final couple of bits of damage. So when I was looking at army lists for myself, I kind of just went for the biggest, beefiest ones. So I think my list was Tyrannus, the Tricerus, and Parasola, which I would probably put in like so there's three of them as like a wave going forward. And then I wanted to have Dactylus and Stegoras as kind of a mobile reserve. So you'd have Dactylus sort of along the back just to plug a gap wherever needed. And that was kind of my take on the list. You know,
it can be quite demoralizing playing against them, and just like shooting, chip one, and it's just like it feels like you're taking forever just to kill one thing. And
unless you've got like some special ranged attack going on, taking shots at them is just going to do hardly anything. You're better off trying to run a couple of people up into one of them than to just take pot shots at them. You're never going to get them that way.
And that's a risk, though, isn't it? Getting in.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that you'll end up trading two guys probably to take down one of them in close combat. So,
sorry, Rich. Sorry, Stu.
No, I was just going to say, like the the amount of shield dice they get, like 3 or 4 on some of them. Who's a Tyrannus has got 4. They've
Yep.
all got
Ross got
8
4.
or 9 damage. It's Brontus, Brontus has got 4. But that 9 damage, it seems to take a long time to get through. And you're absolutely right. It can be quite demoralizing just trying to get through that damage. And one shot sometimes from them, a decent roll of like a one shot. Your 8 to 10 point models, and they got 4 or 6 points. I was finding some of my Valiants were just bang gone.
I think Valiants probably aren't a strong matchup against them, just because you don't have that super focus on ranged or close combat. You are sort of in the middle of the two, and so you struggle to get to deal with them, kind of thing. While something like Trashers, Trashers can get up the board to them, and they just pile into them, and then they just turn the Beastlords into mincemeat. 2 or 3 of the Trashers onto a Beastlord will just take it down, no problem.
Overlords
Trashers are quite insane.
well. The Overlords.
Sorry, go on more.
I was just going to say the Overlords are really good at doing the exact same thing that the Trashers, as Bjorn was saying. Sorry, Stuart, please continue.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the character that I ended up. It was 2 characters I had left when I was using the Valiants. Sorry, the 2 characters I had left were Dougal and Traffic Stop, because I'd been using Traffic Stop to kind of like pop out and cover, shoot, and do some damage. But even in the end, it came down to Dougal versus Tyrannus and one other as well. And I'd managed to do a couple of bits of damage. He took him down, but then got taken out himself. But he was the only one who could really go toe to toe with any of them that I felt like at the time. But they're tough. They're very tough.
So one word from each of us to finish up. How would you rate the Beastlords? What would you say that they are? Anthony, one word.
I would say since the faction guides come out, improved. Because it was really hard with the 80 points games and without the objective blocking for people to use Beastlords. They just didn't have the speed or the numbers. But with the guide and the extra lower points Beastlords and the 100 points, they're actually quite a force now. Like they've definitely gone up from, I think Bjorn would probably agree that they were probably bottom tier prior to the faction guide. Yeah. But I reckon they're probably up at maybe tier 3 or even tier 2 perhaps now. So I think a clever player with 6 Beastlords in 100 points I think that's a lot of damage on the table. What are we talking? Like most, was that 60 points of damage? No, not quite that much. 50, 55 points of damage on the table?
Yeah,
with just 6 of them. So it's a decent amount of damage on the table. So and that's all with better shields.
Bjorn, what do you think? One word to describe them.
One word.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want
more than one word.
Sorry.
Anthony got like 5 paragraphs.
He took a piece of string and made it a rope.
I don't have one. I don't have one word. My one word.
You get one word, Bjorn.
My one word previous to the faction guide, which I haven't had a chance to play with them at the new point system and everything, would have been difficult.
Yes.
And my new word to do with them right now would be hopeful, because I hope that they're a lot better, because they're my favorite faction as far as how they look and everything.
Excellent. Stuart?
Brutal. based on my experience with them. Very brutal.
Yep. And I would say formidable as a word to use. Because of, as Anthony mentioned, you can carry a lot of damage on them. And they've got great stats, great close, great ranged, great shields. And yeah, very, very dangerous on the table. I'd like to thank everybody for their time tonight. I hope everybody at home's really enjoyed tonight's show. We'll obviously be back for episode 4. We haven't worked out what that is yet, but stay tuned. We'll get some things out there soon. We're hoping to do a show on investors sometime in the future, and obviously Red Star Nation. So watch out for those in the future. I'd like to thank Anthony, Bjorn, and Stuart for joining us tonight. It's been great having you here, getting your insight, and great to have everybody at home watching. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
See you guys.